I'm Ollie Davis, welcome to the WrestleTalk News. Peeling back the kayfabe curtain somewhat, yesterday Pete and I had a conversation about CM Punk's stories being in the news. It feels like it's gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for months. He's returning. Then he's not. He's made up with someone, then he hates them. We felt like you, the viewers, were getting a bit burned out by all this Punk nonsense. Although he did nothing wrong, and our videos with Punk on the thumbnail didn't draw as well as others. We agreed perhaps we should only start leading with Punk again once he's finally returned to wrestling. I did not mean what happened last night, because reportedly he showed up at last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. Fire up the Punk thumbnail face! Because 2023 has actually been a bit chill for almost 3 whole weeks since Cody lost at WrestleMania and Vince sold WWE, Punk must have decided to pop down the road and cause a major news story at the Monday Night Raw show in his hometown of Chicago. Fun fact, the same venue where Punk beat John Cena at Money in the Bank 2011. And it ironically ended the same way. Punk running away from Vince McMahon. Mwah! PW Insider first reported Punk had shown up backstage at Monday Night Raw, where he visited several WWE talents where he was greeted warmly, as many of them hadn't seen him since he left the company back in 2014. One of those was said to be The Miz, who Punk used to be good friends with but fell out with. I'm sensing a pattern here. But apparently they've now cleared the air. No, Punk, you're mending the wrong relationship. You need to make up with the Bucks, Punk. The Bucks! Fascinatingly, Punk was also spotted briefly with Triple H, who had a much deeper falling out. This would have been the first time they have met in person since Punk walked out in 2014, partly because he didn't care about having a match against Hunter at WrestleMania. Fightful add he was then asked to leave by Jim Kelly, WWE's head of security, although that is unconfirmed, which PW Insider has one source telling them was a Vince McMahon call. Vince wasn't physically at the show, but still reportedly made major changes remotely. At this point, he's essentially the Eye of Sauron. Dave Meltzer wrote on F4W Online, Punk was kicked out. Once he was asked to exit, Punk immediately said his goodbyes and left the building. Alleged fan footage of Punk in the arena parking lot weirdly has him just talking to Tamina. Fightful is reporting that WWE talent were shocked that Punk was backstage when they saw him, and numerous wrestlers believed it was just a publicity stunt for his return to AEW soon, presumably in a very polite, low-key version of the DX Tank invasion of WCW in the Attitude Era. AEW talent were also in disbelief that Punk had turned up at a WWE show. Tony Khan's currently reported plan is to have a soft to medium well-done brand split in AEW, giving Punk his own new weekly TV show on Saturday nights away from the elite and other people who don't want to work with him. Punk's backstage Raw stunt here feels more Enzo Amore at Survivor Series than 2017 Bullet Club outside Raw, making any AEW promotion feel rather desperate, and also potentially fueling roster paranoia that Punk is going to just leave for WWE anyway. Son of a bitch. With Punk showing up backstage at a wrestling show, does this mean WrestleTalk CM Punk correspondent Brian Children, has CM Punk actually returned to wrestling yet?
No way, Jose!
Goddamn, I thought we had him in the loophole. On those Vince McMahon major changes to the Monday Night Raw script, we don't know what they were, just that it resulted in Talent Unhappiness. Talent Unhappiness, title of your next premium live event. But there was one huge announcement on Raw. Here's Luke Owen with his review to reveal all.
Before we get on with my Raw review, we wanted to shine a light on wrestling from all over the world here at WrestleTalk HQ, so we've decided to bring in noted wrestling connoisseur and vintage t-shirt enthusiast, Mark Markison.
Thank you.
Mark, thank you for joining us.
Absolute pleasure. Really thrilled to be here to be sharing with you all the real wrestling review. My match pick this week is the Mega Championship 4-way match between El Hijo de Vikingo, Commander, and the Americans, Swerve Strickland and Rich Swann. This was from AAA's Triple Mania Triple X1 show. Now, some heathens might call Triple Mania just a bunch of flippy floppers, but actually this match is a great entryway for beginners to Lucha Libre, which specifically translates to open wrestling and is built on a more free-fighting style. The match was a showcase for all 4 of the men, with everyone getting a chance to make an impact. In particular, Swerve's power was on full display with some hard-hitting offense. However, he wasn't quite able to match up to Vikingo's sheer strength and speed. It was a dynamic and exhilarating match, the best 4-way I have ever seen. It's a 5-star match.
5 stars?
5 stars.
we're debuting a brand new segment and you're giving it 5 stars straight away.
Yeah.
You know you can't do more than 5 stars, right?
I can do what I like. Really? Won't need to go lower, will I?
Well, Mark, it's been quite the debut. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you'll be seeing you again next week.
5 stars.
5 stars, everyone. 5 stars. Well, that was your recommendation, was it? Well, I'm sure he's great. I'm sure I'll believe when I see it. Oh, well, I guess it's now time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka Way to Ruin, our most recent 3-count video edition of Monday Night Raw, in about 5 minutes. So the show opened with Cody coming out to cut a promo on Brock Lesnar while the show quietly built to the idea that Triple H was going to make an announcement that will rock the foundation of WWE. Rock the Foundation, name of your pop punk summer festival. And Cody seemingly had an announcement of his own. He's starting an OnlyFans, sorry Mandy Rose, as he sexily stripped down to reveal the scar he got from his broken tit at Hell in a Cell last year. Finn Balor came out to offer him a spot in Judgment Day, which Cody politely declined. A match was made for later on. The Bloodline built up not only their 6-man tag at Backlash, but also their tag title match this Friday by beating the Latino World Order, who cannot buy a win at this point. I actually had to go and check this to make sure, but the last time one of these men scored a win on TV, it was on January 6th when Santos Escobar beat Kofi Kingston on SmackDown. That means this hot new faction designed to sell t-shirts hasn't won a match since forming. They're basically the firm with better merch. There was also a series of backstage segments with Sami Zayn chatting with Jay and Jimmy to create a shadow of doubt around the good guys retaining this Friday. Sami told Jay that he should be doing things for himself and not Roman, and Jimmy told Sami that he should be more worried about Kevin Owens turning on him. And yes, you're correct, these are the same promo segments we got in the lead up to WrestleMania. And yes, I agree, this story has gotten stale. We got a promo from Trish Stratus who said she did a favor to Becky Lynch by letting her stay at home and avoid speaking to CM Punk. And then the Street Profits beat Not the Hurt Business in a shortened, mostly pointless match. This wasn't part of the original plan. As Fightful Select reported, we were supposed to get Candice LeRae versus Piper Niven, but that was changed at the last minute for Vince reasons. The match did serve one small purpose though, to highlight that the team could be split up in the draft, so, well, at least it had that, I guess. And then Triple H came out to unveil the new World Heavyweight Championship, which will be won at Night of Champions. Oh yeah, we now have a new world title now. There's 3 key points to hit with this announcement that has for sure rocked the foundation of Twitter of all places, who've certainly had opinions. Firstly, this is sort of needed. I have certainly bemoaned Raw not having anything to cement a big-time feud because they don't have a world title, which was only further highlighted when they stopped really pushing the US Championship as an important title. So, in theory, this is a good idea. Second is the design, which is the old classic World Heavyweight Championship belt from WCW in the mid-2000s WWE, only with the big WWE logo plastered in the middle of it. It's an odd mix that also serves as a snapshot of what WWE is now as a company. Triple H loves the World Heavyweight Championship design, and this is a nod to that, but he is not the man in charge, and those in charge care more about branding than they do honoring the legacy of a fake belt. So what we have here is a compromise design. And that's also the third point. This is a compromise. Triple H's promo to announce this new belt was, no one is good enough to beat Roman Reigns, so we've just made a new belt for someone else to win. Without one match taking place, this already feels like a consolation prize. It may as well say, at least you tried written on it. Whoever wins this belt, which likely will be Seth Rollins, will now feel like second place, and that isn't how a world champion should feel. I've also got a few questions, most of which I'm sure WWE have no answers for, as I imagine this announcement was a last-minute decision. My first is that, is this now the same lineage as the old World Heavyweight Championship, or is it just me and Tempers that care about that? Or is this a brand new belt? Secondly, does this mean that for sure now Roman Reigns only has one title? Triple H said in his promo that Roman was the undisputed Universal Champion, so is that it? And if that is it, does that mean that the WWE Championship, which was once the belt in WWE, is now defunct? And if it is not, then does that mean that WWE has 3 world titles? Look, there is a lot of good that can come from this, but this was a messy introduction of the belt. Seth Rollins tried his best to undo some of Trips' promo, but as of now, this does sure feel like the participation belt. I'll have more to say about this on the WrestleTalk podcast review of the show later on, but for now I'll just say, Cody should have won at WrestleMania. Sorry for banging the desk. Sorry, what's that? Oh, am I running out of time? Well, how much is left of the show? Oh my god, I've only done the first hour! Now I need to speed through this. Bianca Belair and friends, the friends this time being the women's tag champions, beat Damage Control when Belair pinned Bayley. This is again simple and effective booking for Sky and Belair, but it does not feel like the big time program that it should. Austin Theory complained about defending his title in a triple threat and then brawled with Bobby Lashley, who was then attacked by Bronson Reed. Reed and Theory worked together until Reed attacked the champ too. Good stuff. This was. Boogs and Elias had a chat backstage and then chatted with Chad Gable, who then chatted with Otis and Maxine, who then chatted with Mustafa Ali, and this looked like it was staged by a high school production team who've never watched a single hour of TV in their lives, and it led to a match where Ali quickly beat Gable. Cody Rhodes beat Finn Balor in a match of former Bullet Club leaders, and Seth Rollins tried his very best to make this thrown together program with almost feel important, and credit to him, he did an admirable job. And the main event saw Damian Priest get himself DQ'd over Rey Mysterio. 2 DQs in 2 weeks. You tried telling me that Vincents are doing more things in creative. And Bad Bunny made the save, challenging Priest to a street fight at Backlash. And that was the show. Honestly, there was not a lot to say about it other than the world title thing, which I don't think was very good. But a lot of the wrestling was pretty tasty, and it did build some stuff for Backlash. So for now, this week's episode was 3 out of 5. But did you know that there was going to be a Metroid movie directed by John Woo in 2007? And if you'd like to know more, we made a video about that over on Cutscene. Here's a clip.
No one has brought her story to the big screen, even with Oscar-winning actresses publicly announcing their interest. Well, it nearly happened, and John Woo nearly directed it. With the creation of Samus Aran, Nintendo had